the future it won't be applied until 2020. I have an evidence card that says that even if the affirmative does their plan, it might not happen until 2020. What will happen for the 7 years between, because you said that oil run up in 2013, right? Then what will happen between the 7 years? NASA said that in 2011, we proposed to document how the ratio of acid to base precursors in the diet is, the specific aims of this evaluation are to do this. Anyways, this evidence card shows that it won't be applied until 2020. Also, space is unsafe because of radiation and disease. Although you may have stated that radiation is not that strong, I have an evidence card that says different. Charles Choi, 2008. All these uncertainties mean that the safety margins have to remain high, limiting how long astronauts can stay in space. This in turn could rule out a mission to Mars as well as long-term or multiple missions to the Moon. To enable the very least lunar missions with astronauts, the committee stressed that radiation biology research deserves the highest priority. However, the experts noticed that NASA's space radiation biology research has been significantly compromised by recent cuts in funding, leading to major gaps in our knowledge of health risks of radiation, such as cancer, neurological damage, and degenerative tissue disease. It shows that if we have to first search up radioactive biology in order to be safe in the space, or else going to the moon will be as pointless. We'll be just killing our astronauts one by one. And no international cooperation over lunar mining could lead to World War III and massive conflict. Hatch 2010. The only factor preventing the moon from being subjected to a tragedy of the comets will be the small number of actors dividing the vast expanse of the lunar surface. The total repeal of OST and the Moon agreements would cause the Moon to cease being an object of international law, leaving it utterly free and open for the uses of the first claimants. This policy would cause the Moon to become the international equivalent of the Wild West. Rights to the Moon would be defined only to the degree that those rights could be protected. The total repeal of OST would almost certainly solve the Moon's economic problems generated by the tragedy of the comets. This total lack of lunar law will likely heighten the comparison to the Wild West. With no regulation, states would have an incentive to militarize the Moon and engage in prolonged conflicts with other would-be users to gain monopolies and exclusive uses over the valuable lunar resources. While a scheme rejecting all lunar regulation might lead to an era of free and open use of the Moon, it may also lead to World War III. This shows that lunar mining or moon mining will be dangerous, and it could lead to a really dangerous war. Also, exploiting lunar resources unilaterally will lead to more problems internationally. The same author, Hatch 2010. A return of humans to the Moon and the harnessing of the lunar resources is becoming reality. New institutions are needed, and given the timetable that the spacefaring states are provided for the return in the Moon, the world should turn its attention to this issue now. But proactively creating the new legal framework for the Moon, the outer space generally, potential economic opponents will be forced to reevaluate their own nations and listen to the concerns of their own other states. It is of paramount importance that the states begin to participate in the dialogue about the future of the Moon and its resources. It shows that lunar resources should be used internationally, not unilaterally only by the U.S. The unilateral action is bad. Unilateral U.S. space exploitation is catalyzed by resource scarcity and leads to space organization. Huntley, Bach, and Weingarten, 2010. Sisyphus described the future challenged by scarcity of resources. The high price of oil, severe water shortages send shockwaves in the Western world. By 2015, 10 million people will have perished worldwide from hunger. The global order reorganizes itself by true hopes and loss. This shows that unilateral action will be bad. Now on to my extending my spending day again. Impact 2 destroys U.S. economic leadership and the high status of the U.S. dollar. Raman, August 2011. The U.S. dollar is the reserve currency of the world, and the debt of the United States became the collateral which supported a wide variety of the global financial instruments. The U.S. had to keep its AAA rating at any cost to preserve its economic power status. And this shows that destroys economic leadership, and we urge you to vote negative.